Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the I Will Aim podcast. Our topic for today is purpose driven leadership, unlocking potential across generation. What if your greatest untapped advantage isn't your skill or your resume, but your purpose? Our today's guest has helped leaders around the world unlock their true potential by leading with purpose. Get ready to see leadership through a whole new lens with my guest, Gab Boucher. Hey, Gab, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You're welcome. Really excited to have a conversation too. Let's kick off with a quick introduction.
Sure. So my name is Gab Boucher. Well, my full name is Gabrielle, but all of my friends and family call me Gab. So now I just introduce myself as that. And I'm the CEO and the co-founder of the Purpose Company. So our mission is to democratize purpose worldwide. So we developed the first ever scalable purpose discovery system, really because we were very frustrated that people kept giving other people advice on how to find purpose, and they didn't tell us how to find purpose. So it got really frustrating after a long time. So we developed a system actually working with the military, helping them reach the next generation, create a system that personalizes the mission, and developed what we now call the purpose factor assessment.
Wow, that's impressive. Let me ask the first question. When did you realize that this is the type of work you want to do?
I think that there was a moment where I was working in corporate and I was fairly unsatisfied with trying to figure out what was next on my own. And I remember going to a conference in Hawaii, and I remember seeing someone standing up on stage speaking, and I immediately resonated, and I looked at him doing it, and I had this permission get released in me. Oftentimes it's exposure that we need most when it comes to creating a growth mindset. It's not more information, it's getting in more in different rooms. And so watching that person do that released in me, if he can do it, why can't I? And so I ended up cornering that speaker. His name is Tim Elmore. Many of your listeners probably are familiar with him. And I asked him, like, Tim, how have you get paid for this? This is a real job. How do I do what you're doing? And he said, you can do this, by the way. And so that was kind of the second part of permission, is he, as kind of a father figure, came to me and said, you can do this. You don't need more degrees. You don't need more opportunity. You don't need to go back to school for this. You have enough knowledge right now because this is a part of your purpose. And so I left from that conference and went back to Washington, D.C. and wrote my book, Five Millennial Myths, that really then
Wow.
turned into my consulting firm, and then kind of started down this longer journey that we're going to be talking about today. But it was really that line in the sand moment, realizing that if I wanted to be different, I needed to do something differently.
Wow, that's a very, very inspiring story. Being in the same room with someone who then you realize that you have in you, and they kind of tell you that you have in you what you want to do. That's so
Hmm.
powerful. Must be so inspiring to wake up every morning to do your work.
Yeah, it's very fun. Sometimes I feel like I can't believe that this is what we get to do, but I know you can probably resonate with this as well. As a lot of times people say, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That's not true. There's work associated with everything, but work doesn't have to be hard. Work becomes worthy when you know who it is that you're doing it for, and we get to be inspired by the people that we get to serve and the people we get to serve with every day.
I think I truly agree with you that with that one. That even if you love the work, there's still work in it. It's just that it's more inspiring. Let me
Yes.
ask you the follow up question. You've been helping leaders across the world to identify their purpose. What are the top three misconceptions or the things that you need to work with them without
Yeah.
giving a secret sauce?
Oh, I don't mind giving the secret sauce away. I think as many people as possible need to find their purpose, but you can't help someone learn something new without deleting something old. And so one of the first things that we love to do working with teams and leaders is help them identify what myths and bad beliefs about purpose have actually kept them stuck. The number one myth that I hear people say all the time, and it sounds like such great advice, is follow your passion. Oftentimes we conflate passion with purpose, but they're actually very different. Your purpose is the best of what you have to help other people. Whereas your passion, if you look at the dictionary definition of passion, Literally, it says in the dictionary, passion is a barely controllable emotion, which sounds like horrible advice to actually give someone. If someone's saying, I don't know what to do next, well, and you're like, just follow your barely controllable emotion, they're going to end up in a lot of trouble. And so if we replace passion with purpose, which is really what you can do for other people versus what emotion are you being guided by, it really helps us quite a bit. The second big myth I see people really associate purpose with is their role or their job. So they may
Yes,
think, oh, my purpose
yes,
is to be an attorney, be a doctor, be a professional sports player. And we've just seen this working with many people in that space where, for example, working with the many former NFL players, for example, that we work with, once they're out of season, either by choice of retirement or injury, they get to this point where they try to figure out who they are apart from this role, job, or sport that they were participating in. And so we like to say that purpose is vocation agnostic. You can take your purpose with you to different jobs, different opportunities. If you lose your job, you don't lose your purpose. Your job is the platform by which you help other people with your purpose. So it's who are you serving, not what are you doing. And the third big myth that people associate purpose with is why. And so, why is a powerful question. Why are we having this conversation? Why do we do the work that we do? Why is a powerful impetus for motivation, but why is not purpose? And Simon Sinek, who's kind of the guru of why, even
yes.
says that he says, really, why is more of like your origin story. Like, why do you do what you do? But that's not necessarily your purpose, because your why could be your kids, or your why could be making your ex jealous when you see them at that family vacation. So purpose is not about why. Purpose is actually about who. First, who are you? And secondarily, who is it that you're called to serve?
Wow, I really love the fact that you said purpose about who you are and who you're to serve. And I really resonates with a lot of the things that you mentioned around role. Because for many years, I thought my purpose was my role, my job, and what I do. And over time, it's kind of like blurred, and I don't really know like how to peel the onion. And I love the way you explain it. For someone who's out there right now, if they're thinking, they're kind of confused and they're stuck and they don't know how to start, what are what are some of the things you, without giving the secret sauce, help them peel the onion and identify their purpose?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is your listeners should check out our purpose factor assessment. It takes 20 minutes, so they can go to purposetest.com. Just go to purposetest.com and you can take the purpose factor assessment. And in 20 minutes, I'll give you clarity on what's the best of what you have to help others. But if I were sitting down across the coffee shop table from you, having conversations about what's next for you, the number one question I would ask is, what have you overcome that you can help others overcome? You see, your story is your authority. Many times people think, I'm not qualified to help someone, or I need to go back to school or get more education. But the truth is, you have overcome something that people are desperate for getting wisdom and direction around. And so, considering whether that's overcoming a bad breakup, overcoming financial hardship, overcoming trying to navigate in your particular role, coming from where you came from, whatever those things are, make a list of all of the things that you've overcome, big and small. And you're going to start to realize that there was actually a way that you overcame those things. And so that's what we actually call your origin strength, how you overcome hard things, which you'll get to discover in your purpose factor assessment. So once you determine what have I overcome that you can help others overcome, it creates a belief system in your soul that you not only can help other people, but you must. I think that's the big shift, is just knowing your purpose isn't enough. You have to actually use it. And so once you know your purpose, you then have to have the confidence and the conviction that you must use it to help others.
It's so powerful the way you describe it. Where what obstacle have you overcome? Because many times we sort of put those in the back burner. We overcome it. We did it. We forgot about it. And when the way you ask the question, it kind of bring to the forefront. Hey, you did that. You accomplished that. That's something. And I love the fact that you transition toward what obstacle did you overcome, and then you have a responsibility to help other people.
Mhm.
And that's so powerful when you tell that to people, to someone, that that is something that you could do to help this world a better place.
Yes. And the powers in the specificity. I think when we stay in the general, we lose our confidence, but when we get more
Mm.
specific, we actually gain more clarity. And so really getting clear on it. So you could say, what have I overcome that I can help others overcome? Maybe you've gone through a health journey and you have been able to recover your health, your wellness, your energy. So instead of saying I can help other people get healthy, what would it look like for you to go a couple different layers deep to say, how can I help people who are in my similar situation, in a similar industry, in a similar season of life? And what about your health journey would they most resonate with? Is it that you didn't have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do 100 push-ups every day that they can resonate with? Is it that you just started slow? Is it that you moved fast? There are elements to how we do things that if we just look at our lives and start to kind of peel the layers back, we can recognize that there was actually a process that we were following, whether we realized it or not. There is a process that we were following to get the breakthrough that we've now experienced. And I believe once you see that breakthrough, then you have the opportunity and the responsibility to help others with the same breakthrough.
As someone's hearing this particular episode and hearing that they could take the purpose assessment, if you could give them a bird's eye view as they were thinking about engaging you, what are the two or three things that they would experience the first week or so as they work with you? Because that's a powerful story to tell to people that you could actually help transform their life.
Sure. Yeah, I think the first thing, once you find out what your purpose is and you can clearly articulate it, because that's what's very important. What's unique about the purpose factor is it actually gives you a purpose factor statement. So in a single sentence, it will actually tell you what your purpose factor is. It will also to share with you your fulfillment factor, which is how to create fulfillment on
Mm.
demand, your core beliefs and values, as well as four other elements that we walk through in the assessment. So it's once you have that information, it's really powerful. But it's like in the first sentence of our book, The Purpose Factor, once you open it up, it says you're about to discover and know something that you can't unknow. Once you know what your purpose is, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And so once you see it, it's the lens by which you make decisions, look at opportunities, and create clarities in connection. So one of the first things that I'm always looking for is where is the alignment? What is
Mm.
already good? Oftentimes people aren't walking around life saying, what's my purpose? They're usually saying, what's next for me? And so if they're thinking about what's next for them, usually it means that there's some sort of dissatisfaction in their current life experience or relationship. And so what is the good stuff? Why I think sometimes in our kind of modern era, we think this is bad. I need to change everything. And we create these very dramatic swings, which can be harmful for ourselves and and our families and the people we
Yeah.
serve. So instead of saying, I need to quit, move, change, what about what you're already doing maybe takes an adjustment? And sometimes it's just the power of perspective. Maybe it's just how you're serving, not just what you're helping people with or who it is that you're serving. That can be kind of the powerful shift. So that's usually the biggest thing, is a shift of perspective. The second thing, so those are kind of alignment based decisions. And then we usually are looking at future based decisions. What
Mm.
is something in the next 2 to 6 months that you want to start making adjustments around that you can then determine, okay, I can find more alignment here. So maybe it's taking on different projects at work. Maybe it's adding more value to the community that you're in. Maybe it is kind of making some incremental changes or studying something to become stronger or more literate in a particular area that we call your acquired skills. So once you have clarity on something, it's not just information. So we always say a good assessment is a mirror. It's going to tell you more about yourself.
Yeah.
But a great assessment is also a toolbox, which will tell you what to do with it. And so that's our goal with everyone who takes the purpose factor assessment, is there's ongoing coaching on the other side of it. They can work with a certified coach that we can connect with them with, or use some of our online materials that will help them really become self-guided to make some important adjustments to make sure that every day they're living on purpose.
I love the concept of alignment because it's truly powerful in helping you get to where you need to be. In the age of social media and what some of the influencer has put in front of us, a symbol of success,
Yeah.
there are so many things like Lamborghini, nice vacation, jetting off everywhere. How does one then ground themselves in their purpose?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's so many things that are trying to take our attention, whether it's the constant scroll, the constant change, the news media. There's so many things that try to distract us from the present and the here and now. And so presence and purpose really go arm in arm. And so identifying, who's in front of you that you can serve right
Mm.
now. So whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, your coworkers, clients, vendors, who's right in front of me, and how can I give the best of what I have right now? So asking that alignment question every day is really, really powerful. And then secondarily, I think it's looking at how do you create a life where you're most optimized for your purpose?
Mm.
And so that's where we love to talk about creating fulfillment on demand, which really comes down to how do you replicate those scenarios where you enjoy solving problems for other people. All of us are problem solvers, whether you're a barista or the president of the United States. Every single person is solving problems. So if you don't want to solve everyone's problems and you don't want to solve every type of problem, you want to solve a specific problem for a specific type of person. So again, the granularity and the singularity of finding out what is that thing that I really enjoy solving for other people. Now you can feel more confident in how to create more fulfillment on demand, where you can be on vacation and meet people. And although it's out of context of what you do for a living or where you typically are, but you can still find fulfillment because you're solving those types of problems for the people you most feel called to serve with your purpose.
I love the concept of fulfillment on demand, and I don't know if you trademark that because I've never heard of that, but it's actually so powerful to be able to say, fulfillment wherever you go. You
Mhm.
bring your purpose, and whoever you meet, you'll be able to actually help people achieve a better version of yourself. Next question I have is: you've written a lot of books, several books on millennia and
Mhm.
purpose. What have you learned about the different generation approach to fulfillment and
Mhm.
work?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting. It's a great question. So each generation has their own approach to leadership, living, purpose, fulfillment. And usually that's really stems from their family of origin. So when you look at each generation, you and I and all of your listeners, the generation that you're in, you're either replicating how you were raised or you're rebelling how you were raised.
Yeah,
And so
that's good.
oftentimes we can find a generational kind of archetype doing one of those two things. And typically we lean more towards the rebellion, and it might not be outright disrespect, but oftentimes it's the adjustments, it's the counterweighting, it's the saying, hey, that was nice for them, but that's not going to be what me and my family are going to do. And so that's what I think each generation kind of brings to the table. Certainly, the older generations tended to not have fulfillment in the workplace be even a conversation. It was, it's called work. That's why it's work. And there was kind of that gruffness to it. And then I think as the younger generations, millennials in particular, but Gen X really did kind of act as the tip of the spear in this in a lot of ways, start talking about the responsibility, the moral responsibility that companies and organizations have, employers have, to create not just transactional places of work, but transformational places of work. So I think the approach to creating something that is kind of that triple bottom line of not just the profit side of things, but how do we make sure that we're taking care of the purpose side of things as well? I think that conversation is becoming a lot more popular, not just with the younger generations. I think they really advocated for it. And because the sheer size of the younger generation of the workforce, when
Mhm.
they demanded something, it actually created ripple effects in the economy. But I think every generation, I mean, I've been in this space for over 15 years working on generational leadership theory. And the people I talk to aren't just people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. I have people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s who are advocating around purpose work. Now, chief purpose officer is not a crazy title to have inside of a company. Now it's something that companies are really getting behind, saying we have this kind of moral responsibility to be able to really empower the individuality of every single person who calls this place home.
Wow. It's a lot of information. It's just so powerful the way you're able to articulate and actually share how those things are so different, but they have commonality too. In your opinion, what role does purpose play in leadership? Because
Mm,
sometimes there's this confusion about leadership and purpose, and
yeah.
leadership creates the purpose, or leadership drive the purpose. So, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, purpose and leadership have to go hand in hand. So, our friend John Maxwell likes to say
Yeah,
that everything rises and falls on leadership. And we like to say that leadership rises and falls on purpose. So if a leader does not know their purpose, they really lack their central direction. They lack that compass of who they're serving, how they're serving them, and why they're serving them. So, can a leader operate well without purpose? Certainly, but do we want them to? Absolutely not. I think that there's a huge responsibility as a leader, and again, leadership is influence. And so, if you are a leader in any sense of the word, I believe you have responsibility to find your purpose first and then help others around you find their purpose. And it's kind of like that oxygen mask principle of how do you take care of yourself so that way you can take care of others. We meet many leaders, high level executives. We work with the military quite a bit. I mean, stay at home parents, university presidents. And what we found is many times people will come to us and say, I don't have time to find my purpose. I'm busy giving to everybody else. And then at the end of the day, they're burned out, they're frustrated.
Mm.
Sometimes bitterness starts to creep in because they don't have the full perspective of who they're serving and why they're serving them. And so I believe very strongly that there's a moral responsibility of leaders at all levels to know their purpose and to not just say their purpose is something they'll find when they retire or when the slow season comes or when their kids leave the house, that they need to find their purpose now. And once they find it, they then have a responsibility to raise up others around them, whether it's their families. We want to change conversations around the conference table and the dining room table to move away from logistics and who did what and start talking about what most fulfilled you, who are you serving, what problems are you solving, and create different types of interactions with the people that we're doing life with.
I love the what you said about leadership rise and fall on purpose. Because not knowing your purpose, you really don't know where you're leading your team to.
Yes.
And that's true. I've seen many leaders, they're so busy and they looks like they don't have time. But if they, like you said, if they don't have know their purpose, where are they going to lead their people? Where are they going
Yeah.
to go? How are they
Yeah.
going to achieve it? Thank you for really highlighting that. If there's one advice for listener of this particular episode that you want about purpose, what would that be?
I think one of the most important and freeing things I can give to them is what was given to me, which is permission. I think many times people are waiting for permission. They're waiting for permission to come from parents or employers, from partners, from kids, from people in their life to say you should really do this. And I think should is a powerful suggestion coming from others, but when you're saying should to yourself, it creates a lot of shame. And so what I think we need to start thinking about is what must I do? When you start asking questions around must, we start tapping into conviction. And so we define conviction as the unreasonable certainty that what you're doing is right and worth it. And so when you tap into conviction, you're unstoppable. Many times we step away from that ledge because we don't want to be extreme. We don't want to be seen as unreasonable. We don't want to step away from the crowd, but we have to step back so that way we can step up. So you can't lead a group or a crowd if you're in the middle of it. And so getting that purpose clarity, kind of taking a step back and a step aside to say, who am I? Who am I called to help? And how do I uniquely help those people I'm called to help? It really creates again that conviction. And so that's the vision that we want to see is an army of leaders at every level really empowered with conviction, knowing that what they're doing is right and worth it.
Wow, that's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that key message. If my audience wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, so I would love for your audience to check out the Purpose Factor Assessment. Like I said, it's the first of its kind, truly scalable and on demand purpose discovery experience. Right now, it's just $49, so they can go to purposetest.com and they can take it. It's designed for 10th grade and up. So if you've got high schoolers at the house, if you've got kids going through college, if you have a team that you're wanting to walk them through, we actually have team discussion guides, which work just as well for your family as well as folks in the workplace. So I would say check out purposetest.com.
Thank you, Gab, for your time. I'll put the link on the description of this particular episode. Really, thank you for being a guest on my podcast. Really appreciate your time.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And I just want to honor you for the community that you're creating, the conversation that you're hosting, and the impact that you're making. It's truly making a difference.
Well, thank you very much for your kind word. It's a pleasure being able to do this. It's a gift. Thank you.